One, hey, two, hey, one, hey, two, hey, three, hey, four, hey, ho, hey, ho. Everybody get up. Ho, hey, ho. Everybody get up.
Hey, welcome Dark Side family. Thank you for sliding through for another episode of Actors from the Dark Side. Yeah. I'm your girl Rav'n, an actor with passion.
And I'm LaDios Muhammad, an actor with purpose. We welcome you and thank you so much for this next episode. What are we doing today?
Today we're doing yet another review of the Black cowboy film, The Harder They Fall. Yeah. What did you think about this film, LaDios?
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now how this came about is I came through an article. I think it was the New York Times
or Washington Post.
Or Washington Post. Sorry about that. Thanks for and it was talking about inclusive and diversity. Did they do this film based on inclusiveness and diversity? Because pretty much it was about a 90% predominantly black cast, and no, these were real historical people in this movie.
One of the things that I loved about that article is that the director says his inspiration was the fact that when he grew up, he loved Westerns and never saw black people in them. So he's like, oh, geez, I guess we just didn't exist back then. You know, there were just no black people before 1960. And as he grew and matured, he realized, oh, you know, we were just erased from history. So this was kind of his homage of bringing real black figures into the Western genre, right?
Yeah, and I think that's why I really enjoyed it, because I did grow up on cowboy movies, Westerns. You know, Gunsmoke, and I can't even name them all, but
Bonanza.
Oh, I love Bonanza. Wasn't that with Michael Langdon and the Three Brothers?
That was good.
So I grew up on all of that. My mom used to sit and watch that, so I loved it. And that's interesting because there were no black people, and if there were, like, even when you get into like Little House on the Prairie, there'd be like one black married couple on the film.
Right.
So for me, I thoroughly enjoyed it. We're gonna discuss. Rav'n picked out, and I'm so glad, 3 characters that we want to kind of do an assessment of, and these are, and again, every character in the film, every of the black characters are all real characters.
Yes.
They're all real characters. They all have historical events, but the film itself is fictional.
Yes. Yes, because when you do the research, you find out that these people all lived at different times. There was no way that they could actually be in a band together.
Yeah.
But it was really cool how the director pieced all these people together and made a really cool gritty modern day Western, right?
Yeah.
So that was cool. Yeah.
Right, totally. And so, but before we get in, what do you think?
I liked it. I will say that Westerns, anything Western, just isn't like music, all of it. So minus that, and I don't really love, like, I know a lot of people love like the Quentin Tarantino style of kind of shoot 'em up, bang bang, gory, so that was hard for me to watch as well. But other than that, I really like the film. I love seeing so many amazing black actors portrayed in this style and all of that. It was really kind of badass, if you will.
So you would agree it had a little bit of influence of Quentin Tarantino or so? Is that correct?
Yes, definitely.
I know, just watching old Westerns, most times they're not, how would you say, most times they're not as gory. Yes. Because it was a little bit different times. I think, just seeing the blood gushing out and everything would be definitely different. I still thought it was pretty subtle versus Quentin Tarantino gory.
That's true.
Tarantino, but for a Western, it was pretty, I would say, B+, because there was just something like, whoa, that they were fighting. But yeah, we're going to get into the first character. We have 3 characters.
Yes.
The 3 characters are Cherokee Bill. What's the other character?
We have Treacherous Trudy.
Yep.
Gertrude Smith. And Bill Pickett.
And nope.
Okay.
Did I? Girl. Nat Love.
That's right, Nat Love.
characters that stood out for us that we just kind of want to do an assessment with. So
sure,
let's dive in.
Yeah, who should we start with? Should we start with? I'd like to start with Nat Love.
Okay,
let's see. He was born into slavery back in Tennessee, and it was found pretty soon after the war that he had a really amazing gift with breaking horses. As a young man, he traveled to Kansas and became an expert marksman and cowboy. 1872, he moved to Arizona, and that's where he started penning his own autobiography, and also was working with such famous or infamous cowboys as Billy the Kid and Pat Garrett. In 1876, under the moniker Deadwood Dick, he won a 4th of July rodeo and cashed in $200. He basically won the rope, throw, tie, bridle, saddle, and bronco riding contest. So quite skilled as a cowboy. In 1877, Love escaped the capture of the Pima Indians. And he wrote that the Native Americans spared his life because they respected his heritage, and many of them were mixed blood as well. After that, he married a woman named Alice and moved right here to my hometown, Denver, Colorado, where he was Pullman porter for the last few years of his life. Well, for a few years, riding the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad, and finally ended up living in Southern California and came out with his autobiography in 1907, The Life and Adventures of Nat Love, better known in the cattle country as Deadwood Dick, by himself.
And just so you all, Nat Love was played by Jonathan Majors, who was amazing. So I've seen Jonathan Majors was also in. He's been in a lot of shows. In that most recent one, I forget it was. They just took it off. Lovecraft.
Yes.
And so one thing I liked about when he came on, his character was so calm, cool, and collective, and I just fell in love with even his like just the little subtleties of how he responded to everything. One of the scenes that stuck out for me in the movie was when Mary went to go try to do some investigations in Redwood. And she got caught, and as they're driving in, he's all calm and he's looking at her with the eye contact like, yeah, didn't I tell you? I told you. I mean, everything was just cool about him. And then as I did my research for Nat, he also went by sometimes a name either Nat or Nate. They said that he was a very calm person. You never seen him get upset. He always was able to manage. You didn't see him angry. He was just very reserved, and he was very methodical and calculated. So that is one of these wonderful things about the Nat Love and the character and when it happened.
Sure. And then we had Treacherous Trudy, who was played by Regina King, and I just got to say, her role was just such a standout in the film. She was, again, just another BA, badass female in this movie, and she has some amazing lines, as well as some really amazing cinematography. Yes, or cinematography moments, I guess. There's the way that they do her styling with her hat and all of that. It's really amazing. The real life Treacherous Trudy was actually Gertrude Smith, who was a kind of, pickpocket and kind of just minor thief. Kind of went in and out of jail, and I know she often would partner with Dolly Mickey to perform a lot of their feats. Do you have more on Trudy?
So Treacherous Trudy, that I did a lot of research, or I tried to do a lot of research, but it was very minimal stuff to find about her. But one thing I will say about Regina King, oh my gosh, she's phenomenal. Okay, so first of all, Treacherous Trudy did not look like Regina King per se. Totally, different. But the story that Regina told about her about her sister Mary having polio in the movie was factual. Up until a point of when she killed the person that was teasing her sister. So what happened was her father was thoroughly abusive. She did protect her sister, and there was a girl that teased her sister and threatened her, and she did kill the girl. The difference between the movie and what actually happened was, once she killed the girl, her father knew. He never put his hands on her, and he never sent her away, and that was the end of that. So that story, that monologue that Regina King told, peeling the apple, it was so amazing. I mean, and it just synced in the story, the eye contact, and also Trudy, because she was a pickpocketer and also, an outlaw, she traveled around the world a lot. So she could have several different accents. And one thing about Regina King was the director allowed her to use whatever accent that she wanted, and the one that she chose thoroughly worked. It just worked.
Yes.
So yeah, that was my thing. I learned about Trudy. Again, it was very minimal. She was very well traveled. That was something that they kind of alluded, but it worked. It totally worked.
Definitely. Let's see. Who did we have next? Cherokee Bill as our next standout?
Yeah, so let's talk about Cherokee Bill. Bill.
Oh my gosh.
And he was also known as Crawford Goldsby, played by Lakeith Stansfield.
Yeah.
Now, I love Lakeith. So just a little bit. I looked at some interviews of him, and he said doing this film was very, he had post-traumatic stress disorder because of the violence in there. But I've seen Lakeith when he was in one movie, I think it was like...
Judas and the Black Messiah.
No, before that.
Okay.
It was what was it called?
Yeah.
Before that, when he did that Hello... Like he was like,
oh my gosh, the telemarketer one?
Yeah, the telemarketer one.
Oh gosh, I haven't seen that. I want to see that.
And that's when I first remember. Well, actually, he was in Get Out before that, but then he had a supporting role. It was like a smaller role, but in the telemarketing one, I can't think of it.
He was the star.
Yeah, he was the star.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, thank you for calling.
Yeah.
And so that one, this Cherokee Bill. Because there's so much about Cherokee Bill, so we're going to start. So, first of all, he and his gang terrorized the entire Indian Territory. Okay, so his mom was Ellen. She had basically abandoned him, and he was raised by Auntie Amanda Foster, who was a black woman. She raised him until he was 7, and then sent him off into Indian school. Okay, and then he began his life as an outlaw at the age of 19. Oh no, I'm sorry, 18. So he was very young. And I think this went on for about 3 years before he was actually hanged. Let's see. Oh, okay. So because he had Native American heritage, they were giving out monies for Native Americans. The government had purchased some land, and they were giving out stipends to Native Americans. So once he left after Indian school, he didn't, he went to go stay back with his mother, and him and his mother or his stepfather didn't get along. So he left and went to stay with his sister. He didn't get along with his brother-in-law. So he became an outlaw from there. And it was a very short span, but he was ruthless.
Yes.
He was a ruthless person, and he went on a killing, murdering, raping spree. He also suffered from an illness that was inherited, and so he ended up shaving his head bald, which was something that I noticed when Lakeith Stansfield was shot. His hat fell off, and you could see that it was a bald head. So yes, the whole time you never seen him. I don't recall with him without his hat. He always had his hat. You want to add on to some more?
Oh, sure. He was responsible for about 8 murders, including his brother-in-law. And like LaDios said, he was known to be the roughest, toughest, and meanest outlaw of the Old West. And yes, we both, I think he went on the run with Jim and Bill Cool, who were also mixed blood Cherokees. So yeah, there were a lot of natives that would mate with former slaves and that kind of thing. So it wasn't like, I think we have this idea in America that everybody kind of stuck to themselves, but definitely doing this research, we find out that almost no one was just black, no one was just whatever, and just native or whatever. We were all kind of mixing together and all of that. So that was really interesting to me. I know, I thought Lakeith was just amazing in the film. Like, he was really, really cool and a really quick sharpshooter. So, Lakeith, hats off to you, because, your performance was really probably the standout in my mind, right behind Regina King, because, she's just amazing.
So they're probably wondering, like, how did they get caught?
Right,
And so basically, again, they had some territory, and he had was trying to get his stipend to get payout for the government. Well, of course, he knew he was on the run, so he basically sent an acquaintance called Effie. Her name was Effie. She went to go collect the money, and the sheriff followed her, and that's how they got him.
Yeah.
So he was, I believe, he was in jail for about a year. Is that correct, Mr. King? Yeah, about a year before he met his trial. And when they went to go hang him, they postponed it so that his mother and his auntie that raised him could come. And then they were going to hang him that day, but they postponed it another hour for his sister to come in to say their final goodbyes. And at the time of hanging, they said, "Do you have any last words?" And his response was, "I came here to die, not to give a speech."
Interesting.
So that's very important because, as you've seen, that Lakeith Stanford did say something in Cherokee when he was shot. And the reason they said that, that was one of my favorite quotes in the movie that he said in the movie. He said, when he shot, was it Bill Tuckett? Which one was it that he shot? Bill Tuckett?
Or was it the...
Bill Pickett.
Yeah, Bill Pickett.
I got the names all wrong. But Bill Pickett, when he shot him in the back, and then he said, and Bill was like, breathing like, he's like, no. He said, and I guess this was supposed to be in Cherokee according to the interview. He said, "Don't have fear." He said, because if you have fear, then it would be... let me make sure I quote it right, because it was really interesting. He said, "Being afraid only brings bad karma in the afterlife."
Yeah.
And they specifically put that in Cherokee because he did speak full-blooded Cherokee. He spoke Cherokee. So instead of saying his last words of being hung, they twisted it and they put this in there.
Yeah.
And that was one of my favorite quotes in the movie.
It's super brilliant.
Yeah. What's the director's name? I forgot to get his name.
Sam something.
I thought it was Jamie. Was it Jamie? Oh, we'll have his picture up here.
Yeah,
it was funny because I thought it was Jamie, and it was spelled wrong, or was it Sammy? But it was spelled like Jayeme.
Interesting.
It was something weird.
Yeah.
And but the director, I thought, really did good. A couple of things that I liked, since we picked these three wonderful people. Like I said, I picked my favorite quotes out of the movie. First one, of course, it was with Cherokee Bill when he said, "Being afraid only brings bad karma in the afterlife." And that was put in there because they wanted to say, when he went to go hang, his last words was, I came here to die, not to give a speech." Another word that stood out, one of my favorite quotes by Treacherous Trudy is, and she had a lot of them, but this one really stood out when they were in a scene trying to collect the money to save the town of Redwood. And one of the bystanders says, "Well, how are we going to get this money? You got us between a rock and a hard place." And her response was, "A rock and a hard place is what we call Monday." And I thought that was so profound because it was just something that she was like, "We can get through this."
Yes.
And then the last one was Nat Turner, after he realized who his brother was, and Mary says, "Is the devil dead?" Because Rufus, was the devil.
Right.
And he says, "I don't know." And it was so interesting that these quotes all tied in because he's been hunting Rufus all this time and come to find out he may be the real devil.
Yeah,
so, I love that.
Those are great. And before we wrap this one up, I just want to mention a couple of other notable figures. So there's Bass Reeves, who has been likened to the modern day Lone Ranger. Also, Stagecoach Mary, who was a U.S. postal worker and actually carried 2 rifles to watch her postal route. And then we mentioned a lot of time Bill Pickett, who is pretty much just a famous rodeo star. But it was so fun going in and doing this research and finding out so much more about these figures and their inspiration for this amazing movie.
Yeah, it was. Did you have something, Mr. King?
The director's name is James Samuel.
Yeah, James Samuel. I remember it being spelled with a Y. James Samuel.
Yes.
Thank you for an amazing music. And I love, oh my God,
I love
the white town. It was like over dramatized because they even had ivory white soap in there. You can see it saying that it was ivory white soap. Like everything in there was white. And I really enjoyed, the parallels of that. That was it was just so many things that I loved it. And I know Mr. King saw it like 6-7 times. I watched it again. I can totally watch it again.
Yes.
Love the love scenes. I'm a sucker for love.
I like the fight scenes. I love the fight scene between Regina King and Zazie. Well, I didn't like it, but I liked it. It was riveting. You couldn't keep your eyes off of it. It's like, no, do I want to see that every day? No, but it was really riveting. So yeah, that was probably like one of the best moments of the film, even though it was a little bit drawn out. But I feel about everything.
No, I did. You know what? I like that it was drawn out because when I compare, my favorite fight scene of all time, Kill Bill.
Yeah, it did
remind
me of Kill Bill.
You got the Crazy Eights and the one with Vivica Fox.
Yeah.
And when I think of her and Vivica Fox, this was a great fight scene, and it was. I loved to see strong women not being a damsel in distress. So that fight scene was tasteful. They were strong. They made it going forward. I mean, it was. I'm glad you mentioned that because that was the fight scene. I love how they went through all of the colorful sheets.
It was cool.
And then you see all the hay was glittery in different colors. It was
really cool.
It was very lovely. And one other scene that I really enjoyed was with Cherokee Bill and was it Pickett? No, Buck. What's his name? What was his name? Beck. And they were having the standoff to see who was the quickest person in the West.
Oh, yeah.
But what I liked about that scene, because he did, their shadows were really long.
Yeah.
He had these long shadows.
Yeah, and they have the conversation, and you see the shadows talking. That was really well done. Some of the cinematography was just
and the music was good.
The music was amazing. That was actually my favorite part of this, was the music, was that I was like, what? Okay, they're bringing that. Okay. Absolutely. Shout out to Lauryn Hill because that was amazing.
That music was beautiful, and I want to just tell our family. I mean, our Dark Side family, like we have history.
Yes,
these are real people. Even though I do want to just specify, and I think Rav'n already alluded to it, that Nat Love was a real person, but he was not an outlaw. That he was not.
No.
He was just a good old cowboy.
He sure was.
Yes. And so, but go ahead and do your research. There's so much about all these wonderful people that are not in the history books. And so even though they're trying to change the history of about us, there's so much information. And don't just read Wikipedia.
Right.
Go on. There's people actually going on YouTube and, define what Wikipedia has.
Yes.
Okay? There's so much information. And so we want to just thank you so much for sliding through. And did you have any last, you have a grade? Because I know you were like,
oh yeah, my grade's probably like a solid B, again, just because it's not my favorite genre, but it was really well done. Yes. And everybody should see this film just because it was so well done and so informative. It makes you view things in a different light, even if you know that there were black people back in that day, or if you didn't, which is sad. But anyways, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, my grade would be, I'm going to give it an A+. One, because of the history. Two, the cinematography was amazing. The music score, out of this world. And even though I'm saying this last, but the cast,
amazing.
I mean, what is it? The Wayans brother, his son was in there. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Like, nobody in there did a bad job.
No, there was not.
Nobody. There was not a bad actor in this movie. And so mine's is A+. Hers is solid B. Mm-hmm. I kind of expected that.
Of course.
But it was good.
It was so good.
So that's all we got for you. Go see the movie on Netflix, The Harder They Fall, featuring Regina King, Lakeith Stanfield, and who played the other one? I'm so sorry. And Jonathan Majors.
There you go.
Okay. All of them. In the meantime, in between time, remember, you don't have to be asleep to dream, so get up and get out and do something for yourself. I'm LaDios Muhammad, an actor with purpose.
And I'm Rav'n, an actor with passion.
And we are
actors from the dark side.
So Rav'n wasn't expecting this, but I thought this was fun. Yes, producer. This is like impromptu. This is just some backstage stuff. So Rav'n, I sent you 2 things that we got some comments on our YouTube channel. So we wanted to kind of talk about it. Okay. First of all, I'm putting my glasses on now. This one I was super excited about. You actually could just keep us in the middle just for this whole thing. It's just fun. It's just back behind the scenes. But this one was about Jonathan Marcatoni.
Hi, Jonathan.
Love you. We
you.
thank you for your comments. We appreciate it. So shout out to you. Make sure you put his name in big bold. Well, just put his name in big bold. Just Jonathan. But anyway, put it out there for us. Oh God, I didn't have any coffee today.
Oh goodness.
Nick. Okay, so this was on our episode 48. We did historical contradictions of the Underground Railroad. Mm-hmm, so a beautiful comment that, because we were like, we didn't say it was off the table, but we said we probably won't do a full review on the full series.
Sure, yeah.
But we said we would be open, and this actually prompted me to maybe watch season 2. Mm-hmm. But Jonathan said, because apparently he watched our video, and we thank you so much.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, he says they go deeper into how Ridgway got Homer and trained him in later episodes, because we were talking about Homer.
Yep.
That whole subplot is so twisted and disturbing yet profound. Mm-hmm. The later episodes go places I've never expected. Wonderful series. So,
interesting. So that does make you want to watch a little bit more, right?
So I ended up watching it into the end of the series.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're season 2, so I guess it's live. Right. Season 2 is live now, or I don't know, but now I want to go find more about Homer.
Okay, interesting.
So what are your thoughts?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, very interesting. I'll have to, do more.
Yeah, so thank you, Jonathan, for that comment, because that may prompt us to do another review. Mm-hmm. So give us more. So Nick, you might get more of what you asked for. So this comment was pretty darn interesting. It was on our video. We did it, I forgot the name of the video, but...
Was it on structured racism by any chance?
Structural racism, and I forgot the episode, but it's called Structural Racism. The comment was erased because it was super graphic. I didn't erase it. Yeah, but it was by, I don't even know if this name is real or not, but it's by Panina Kahani. And thank you, Panina. Because I couldn't reply to your comment because YouTube removed it, but I want to say thank you. I don't know if you actually watched our video or just looked at the title and made a comment, but here's what Panina Kahani, who doesn't really have a YouTube channel, they just created one just to make a comment. They said, Black Lives Matter Marxist niggas, traitors, racists. 250 years, black, still violent, illiterate, dependent. Loot, rob, attacked, rape, murder, no fathers, baby mamas, 10 kids, drug gangs. Clean up your communities. You don't know American history, Constitution, historical docs. You never served your country. Go to Africa, horrific violence. See how fast you run back. Go to Chicago, blacks murder hundreds of blacks monthly. That is a wonderful comment.
Well, I wouldn't use the word wonderful personally. I hate, and that's all that is. Hateful people say hateful things because they're sad and miserable in their lives. And I'll go back to Africa as soon as you take your ass back to Europe. Okay? So let me know when you get there, and I'll make my travel arrangements and go and do a safari. Okay? Thank you.
Oh, well, we just appreciate the comment. You went out of your way to type that comment. You must really enjoyed our video. If you actually watched it.
Or they just search racism and comment on whatever comes up. Which
but we
is
appreciate that you just went through all of that to acknowledge us, that we do exist. We exist. We're wonderful people. We're so wonderful that you made this awesome comment, right? But anyhow, we just wanted to share some behind the scenes, and we want to say thank you so much for those good and bad.
Yes.
Because there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the comment is not there, but I did save it. It's legit.
I'm so glad that you saved it.
Yeah,
because I've been wanting to clap back. So thank you.
Well, I need to clap back. The thing is, you gave me your energy. I didn't give you mine. Ha 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 ha. You think I'm important. So, again, the name. Put this on there for me, Nick. Penina Kane. It's P-N-I-N-A K-A-H-A-N-E. Give him a shout out, claps, everything, whistles, bells, and even some confetti. Thank you. Well, the girls that do, we appreciate it. We appreciate you and everything. But anyway, we're LaDios Muhammad, actors from the dark side, and
Rav'n Moon, actor with passion.
Just behind the scenes,
Dark side.
Enjoy it. Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
and
thank
we
you.
Out.
Tune in.